Welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and I've teamed up with Silverstone Auctions again because they've got another auction coming up this weekend. Today is Thursday, so setup day, so there's all sorts of activity going on around us. I'm in the hall where the race cars are, and there's another hall where the road cars are. We'll go down there as well. So I want to give you a tour of some of the picks in this sale. Now, viewing is tomorrow, Friday, and then the actual sale is on Saturday, starting at 1 o'clock. It's a slightly earlier start because there's 80 cars to get round. Some great cars in here, lots of history, sort of unusual cars as well. So to get us going, let's go and have a look at this Porsche 356. Now, what I like about this one, when you see a car with this many stickers all over it, it's had an extraordinary life already, this car. Really popular, the right colour. It came from the US, this car. It came to the UK in 1989 and bizarrely won a concours as soon as it arrived. So it must have been pretty smart when it came. This is a 356C, so 1984, very close to the end of production. They stopped production in 65 and went to the 911. But look at it, the second owner decided he wanted to use it for historic rallying, and my goodness, did he use it after he converted it. It's got a SC converted engine, so it's 95 horsepower engine. They've got twin carburettor, twin choke carburettors either side. That's how you used to get the horsepower out of this. It's sort of a low revving engine, 4-cylinder obviously rather than the 6-cylinder for the 911. But I just love the way it's converting. It's obviously been pretty competitive. Looking through its history, it's got class wins and it's got podium finishes. But it's just the amount of use it's had and the amount of maintenance. It's been constantly maintained all the way through. I've looked round it and it's pretty solid. It's just come back from Tuttle's as well. I think it's just a really nice buy. They're always going to be popular at a 356, and I like the way it still looks like a 356. It's not overly modified, so you can use this as a road car as well. It's not a circuit racer. And guided, I think it's at £52,000 to £60,000 guide, which I think looks good value to me. Okay. Well, here's an unusual car. This is the Porsche 9146. When the 914 first came out in the late 60s, it had a 4-cylinder engine. And then right at the end of the run, they decided to put the 911 flat 6 engine in it, and this is one of those. It actually, looking at the history file, it started life in Finland and then went to the States. Came back to the UK in 2006 and then turned into this sort of rally spec you see here, and it looks beautifully done to me. One of the surprises of this, if you look at these arches, there was a GT version of the 9146, very, very rare, and these are the metal arches from the original part. They're not glass fibre on this car. This is true metal wings on it. Looks the part. It's hard to believe this is a 1970 car because to me it looks really modern. They had a removable Targa top as well, but the engine on this looks spectacular because it's 1970 means it's still on carburettor, so you have to, two sets of 3 downdraft carburettors on it. And I just think this car is a different, so instead of having the ubiquitous 911, this car will be just as quick mid-engine. You would hope the handling will be better, it's wider tracked, etc. So yeah, I like this car, and this one is guided at 75 to 95,000. Well, being a race retro auction, it's no surprise to see these single-seaters here. There's a trio of them, Chevron, a Brabham, and then this March. This March was actually down at Goodwood, I see, in 2018 at the members meeting, so highly competitive car. It's a 1 litre Formula, which I didn't realise. The other two are 1600. But I wanted to show you this as well, a Triumph GT6. And it's just a car from my past. A great school friend of mine when I was at school had one of these, and they were fairly lethal because they were 6-cylinder 2 litre lump, and they rattled and squeaked, but we thought we were the coolest kids on the block with this thing rocking around in this. This particular one is pretty heavily tuned. It's got triple Webers on it and 180 horsepower on the dyno recently, so I think that's a bit of a weapon. And this car, a little Ginetta. Now this is 1964, 65, I think, this vintage. I used to compete in a little Lotus Elan sprint on the hills, and every now and then one of these would rock up, and this was one of the cars to beat because it was as equally light, the same as the Lotus Elan as well. And they're pretty good value. They're under 20,000, these, and this looks a very tidy example. But the one I wanted to show you was this Subaru Impreza. It's hard to believe this is the very first Subaru Impreza, 1993, originally owned by ProDrive, and they used it as a recce car. Back then they were racing competitively with the Subaru Legacy, the bigger car, before they moved to the Impreza. So this has got a bit of history to this car. It's lived a heck of a life. I think it's been reshelled, but it's got all the right parts. It's just been rebuilt, the engine on it as well. It's producing over 300 horsepower, but it's a bit of history being a 93 Impreza. And this one's guided at 20 to 30,000 pounds. And I just think for a bit of Impreza history, yes, it's had a life, etc., but a rebuilt engine, you could go tarmac round in it tomorrow, it's road registered. That's quite a bit of history for you. Okay, I had to stop by these two Lotus Elan Sprints. This one is 1972, this is 1971. They're one of my specialist subjects, the Elans, because I've owned Elans myself since the early 90s. These two look really quite tidy. Both have had work done, they've had a respray, they're super shiny, but it's been very nicely done. You always look for a little ridge there. If the ridge is still there, that means it hasn't been flatted down or had accidents, etc. Another little note is the door fit on Elans. Well, this one isn't quite fitting as well, but that's actually how it left the factory. There are a number of body moulds, and whether you've got door 2 from 2 mould and a body from mould 4 was just a pot luck. So the doors never quite fit. But this red one has actually had the doors made to fit. That's not actually how it left the factory, but it looks really neat. Looking all round, mechanically they look absolutely spot on. Interiors are good as well. So two really tidy examples. What's interesting though, this pistachio green, which I dearly wish my Elan was this colour, being a hard fixed top, is actually valued at 10,000 less than the soft top. And a lot of fixed heads were converted into convertibles. So these are pretty rare, and I think over time these might be more valued. So this one is guided at 30 to 40, and this one valued at 40 to 50,000, but both very nice examples. I had to stop by this Ferrari 575. This has the Fiorano pack on it, and it looks a very nicely looked after car. Lots of service history with it. Dick Lovett's looked after it. Only 14,500 miles, I think it is, and in an unusual colour. I mean, I think it really suits this light blue colour, and then inside the crema leather. What I wanted to point out though, this car has Fiorano pack on it. Also has the carbon bucket seats on. Now they're really quite rare to find on a 575, and you can see that the leather coloured roll cage. They're all sort of extras. Now I had a 550 Maranello and did quite a lot of miles in it, and when I drove the 575, it's got a significantly more punch. You do feel the difference between it, and this was the first 200 mile an hour of this variant. So this was 203 miles an hour. It always annoyed me that the 550 was, they said the top speed was 199. Not so with this one. Yes, it's the F1 gearbox, so the automated manual, but that is reflected in the price, and I don't think it's as bad as that. I think these will be sought over in the future as a sort of gentleman express Ferrari. This one's guided at 80 to 85,000, which I think is really good value. Okay. Well, I had to stop by this Volkswagen Golf GTi because this is one of the originals, 1979, one owner from new and just 53,000 miles. I love original cars, and I've been looking around this. It must have had some stone chips or something on the front, but basically it looks all original to it. And I love how this signature servo glide, it's had retrofit electric windows, because of course it must have come with wind-up windows. At this age, it was 1600 cc. They were light, nimble cars, and they sort of started the real hot hatch craze, and this is in the right colour, Mars red. The only slightly strange thing, it had a vinyl roof, but that's the sort of thing you did in the 70s. That was meant to make your car look posher by having a vinyl roof on it, but it has the check trim that you now see with all Golf GTIs, the golf ball gear lever, the oil cooler, etc. And looking around the back, it even looks like it's got the original dealer number plate as well. So it's just lovely to find a true original car like this, because you can't buy originality, and this does look a really nice one. That's two very unusual cabrio versions of normal coupe cars. This is one. This is the Tomaso Longchamp cabrio in right-hand drive, and apparently this is one of 3 cars. That's all that exists of this car. Uses a Ford V8 engine, so pretty easy on the mechanicals. Just been rebuilt, 420 horsepower. Automatic 3-speed gearbox on it, and it sort of reminds me, I had a Maserati bi-turbo Spyder in exactly the same colours as this, and it was ace. We went around Europe in it, it burbled along. No, it was super rare, and it was very easy to live with. And I do wonder what this would be like, because it just looks as though someone's expanded the Maserati bi-turbo and produced this. Obviously from Tomaso, owned Maserati at the same time. Looks really tidy, rebuilt. Body's come in from Australia, so there's no signs of rust or anything. But what an unusual car. Right, let's go have a look at the Jensen, which is the other one. Okay, and now the Jensen Interceptor. Now this is from 1975. They only produced these for a couple of years. 456 convertible Jensen Interceptors were produced in all. And this one actually went to the US, and then the current owner bought it in 2007, brought it back to the UK, and then changed it from left-hand drive to right-hand drive, resprayed it this colour, had the engine rebuilt, and then just used it for continental touring. So, and it's done 68,000 miles now. And I just think it's unusual to find that Tomaso and this Jensen, 2 super rare sort of GT convertibles in the same sale. This one is actually, you've got to remember this is earlier, this 1974, 75. It's 10 years older than the Tomaso. But the Tomaso being super rare, one of 3 is 100 to 120 guide, and this one's 50 to 60,000 guide. But both big V8 automatic gearbox, and yeah, a GT car to cruise through Europe. I can't think of a better choice. Okay, I just wanted to show you this. This is the Porsche Club Sport. This is from 1988, 3.2 Carrera. And this, I can remember this coming out and a friend buying one, and we scratched our head why he'd bought this one, because it didn't have equipment, it didn't have air conditioning, it had sliding heat controls, it was decontented to be lighter. And it was a slightly oddball choice at the time, but now everybody wants one because it's still the lightest, the purest 911. And this seems a really nice example. I've looked all over this and it's been very nicely looked after. It's 80 something miles, 89,000 miles, 5-speed. They are a very nimble, simple, back to basics 911, and they have a real following. They're rare in right-hand drive, 53 cars produced. And the Club Sport then went over, we have a look at another car over here, which is the 968 Club Sport. And after that got a following, this was another car. 968 was a more balanced, obviously, front mid-engine car, Porsche's race car. It always was a very nice handling. And they did the same sort of formula of decontenting the Club Sport. The 968 from the Lux and the air conditioning went, and they ended up with this, a proper driver's car. It was winning autocar handling days and that sort of thing. I really like the colour on this one. The numbers are higher with this car, so rather the Club Sport 911 is valued at around 90, 100,000 guide. This is guided at 20, 25,000, and this is actually done 100,000 miles because these are usable cars. But I love this colour, I love the registration on it, it looks really nicely looked after, but it's just nice to see 2 Porsche Club Sports in the sale. Okay, well, it's unusual to find 1 Lotus Carlton in a sale like this, but there's 3 here on this sale on Saturday, and I think this is the pick of the bunch for me anyway. This is a higher mileage. This is 99,000 miles from new, but just 2 owners, this Lotus Carlton, in the right colour, this fluorescent imperial green colour, beautifully maintained. I've gone right through this, it looks absolutely lovely. You would never guess it had done that sort of mileage. Interior is perfect. It's actually, the last few years, it's just been used for high days and holidays and things, but he's owned it since 96, I think, the original owner. And then there's another one which is lower mileage, about 41,000 miles. And then there's an Opel Lotus Carlton as well. That's left-hand drive in black as well. So this one guided at 28, 35,000. The 41,000 miles is 65 to 75,000. And I've no idea what the left-hand drive one is guided at. But anyway, it'll be in the catalogue, so check on the website. Well, it's just too many cars to cover here, but I can't help but just take you down this line. This is a 930 from Porsche Turbo from 1981 in this green. I mean, make green great again. This is really nice. Just been done by Tuttles. They just resprayed this car. It's got an unusual interior, shall we say, but it was utterly factory original as you see it there. And then we've got this one, a triple black 993 turbo. I had one of these back in period. They were just demon things. It was just feeding the fire as you put the gears in. Really nice example, 63,000 miles I think it is, about 110,000 guide or thereabouts. 996 turbo as well in silver, looks the part. They're still a bit of a bargain. They're £50,000. The cheapest way into 911 turbo at the moment is still the 996. And then there's a GT3 RS from 997, a Gen 1 here. Nice example, super low mileage. I think it's only about 6,000 miles. So yeah, take your pick from that little lot. What I want to show you though is some 3 little minis up here in reception. So we're going to go up there next. Well, it's great to see 3 original Mini Cooper S's in a line here at this sale. Kicking off with this one. This one has raced campaign right through until just a few months ago. It came in from Holland. It's lived over in Belgium, Holland area, been racing over Europe, and it has FIA papers for 10 years to 2026. Really nice. All prepped, ready to go for this season, and I think it's a race at Silverstone celebrating the 60 years of Mini, so you could enter this one. This one, a bit more expensive. This one's been at Goodwood. Bobby Rahal raced this one. I see a little scar on the side. It was 2009. It was at Goodwood, and there's a little scar on the side. Great in those colours. Original 1293 Mini Cooper S, but I think this is my favourite of the 3 of them because this is super rare. This is hen's teeth in Mini Cooper land because this is a 970 Mini Cooper S, rarest of them all, special order, only 963 were made, and this is super original as you can see in the original colours, the original interior, etc. The twin tanks at the back, and this is actually the most expensive of them all. This one is guided at 36 to 42,000, and I'd quite like one of those in my collection one day. Okay. Well, this is the final car I'm going to show you. This is this 1958 Porsche Speedster 356A, and it's just a terrific example, one of the best I've ever seen. And I wanted to end on this because it's the build quality of Porsche in this age was so far ahead of anyone. You notice how there's no front wing, it's all lead filled at the rear. It just looks, there's no shut lines. If you look at the shut line around the boot, it is so tight, it's unreal. It's just the elegance as well of the Speedster, the cut down screen, elegance of the rear mirrors. They really cared about the details, and the interior trim has this peculiar carpet that just looks right, red leather, etc. Now what makes this car particularly unusual is its right-hand drive, and this car was purchased in 2015 in America and then brought over to the UK, and JD Classics did a wonderful job of converting this to right-hand drive, because if you want a Speedster right-hand drive one, there's only built 22 cars in period out of about a 3,500 total build of Speedster, so they are super rare. Other details I like on it, there's a sort of rudimentary hood if you really do get caught out in the rain, but this car deserves to live in California almost, and then the exhaust actually exit through the bumper. It's super rare, but you can only do it if you have it beautifully built in the first place. So there you go. This car is guided at 280 to 320,000. Sounds a lot, but actually is pretty good value for a right-hand drive 356 Speedster. So there you go. I hope you enjoy this tour around this sale. Loads of cars here. Check out the website to see all the lots on here. And remember, this sale is happening on Saturday, 23rd of February. Today is Thursday. Tomorrow is, you can come down here and actually see the cars in person, just one day, Friday, and then Friday morning. Sale starts at 1 o'clock on Saturday. I hope to see you there.